Henry McClure live. Tom Murrin, how you doing? Tony, Johnny, this is an update on the freezing rolls deal at Topeka, in Topeka, Kansas, and how it relates to the Westridge Mall. You know as well as I do, the lease has been terminated, and they told you to write a check for $50,000. Which, by the way, don't get that checkbook out right yet. You know, I've got a letter from a lawyer saying, whatever you do, we don't want the truth to be known about the goings on about our clients' actions. So anything that you say is really basically slander and disparaging. You know, you're not allowed to have an opinion that differs with the big mall owner. You know, how dare you? How dare you bark like a junkyard dog to the power brokers that control the universe? I'm telling you, I'm glad I have a short position in my stock portfolio in that entity. You know, Kramer on you know, the Mad Money guy, you know, he says that it's a real red flag. He had, you know, I'll send you the links to Luke and 40 where he professes on that. He professes that he might be actually wearing juniors or junior accessories on the so is that him admitting that he's a cross-dresser, or is he actually just making a joke? But anyway, Tommy, what I want to tell you, it's like with our upbringing from Mace and Dana, you know, how many times did they say, you know what? You got to ask 11 times. You got to ask 12 times, you know, 20, 30 times. You know, we would be yelled at if we didn't keep asking retailers to come lease space in our malls. I mean, what do you mean you stopped? They said no? We'll ask again. What do you mean they said no? You ask again. So am I going to keep asking to put freezing rolls in Westridge Mall? Absolutely. I'm going to keep asking to put freezing rolls inside Westridge Mall. You know, we've made an investment in it. You know, we've got a security deposit put up, and yeah, they did spend some money to design some plans to relocate the security office. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to have to dig out. I don't know if it's the same lawyer that sent the cease and desist, you know, to quit talking. Tommy, you'll have to check that out. I'll email this to you. But and I don't know if this is the same company that defaulted, you know, that terminated the lease and said, hey, give us $60,000 of damages. Man, I walked the mall and I'm doing the math right now, and there's plenty of vacancies in that mall. And you don't even really know what spaces are available. I mean, the leasing signs, they don't even have leasing signs on Pizza Pub. So look, and this is one thing the mall doesn't get, that this was Freezing Rolls' idea of their own free will and accord to take the Pizza Pub spot. And the fact that my partners in Pizza Pub are willing to make up the shortfall in the rent difference should be all the reason enough to do the deal. But the icing on the cake is, not only will Pizza Pub make up the shortfall, we don't have to spend money to relocate the security office, savings of $200,000, And we don't have to give you $50,000 in free rent and $50,000 in construction allowance. So let's just say, from an underwriting standpoint, freezing rolls, the concept is a flash in the pan. Well, you didn't risk 300 in capital to a concept that might go out. But this is what I don't think. And if this is the way they do business across the board, I don't know. But rents are a product of sales. And if you don't have tenants inside the mall making sales, you're not collecting rents. So you want to get up here and say hello to Tommy? You remember Charlie Wilson, don't you? I mean, even my dog knows. I think my dog could actually make more deals than others. You good boy. Anyway, so Tommy, we need to have a meeting, but I think what you need to do is you need to invite all the attorneys. They're spending more money on attorneys than they are making deals. But if that's what they want to do, I mean, but I think you need to take those attorneys to the store. You know, either take them to Freezing Moo or take all the lawyers. But you need to have a field trip with the lawyers, and you need to and don't tell any of your lawyer jokes. You know, like the difference between a dead dog and a dead lawyer in the street: skid marks. What do you call 1,000 lawyers falling off a cliff? A good start. But anyway, so I'm probably going to get a cease and desist letter from the Bar Association because you've slandered the good name of all attorneys. My grandfather, both grandfathers were attorneys. One was a judge. One actually just studied the law. You know, back in the old days, you could go from high school right to law school. You didn't have to get a bachelor's degree way back in the early days. But I wish my dad were alive today. You know, he formed the first farm corporation in the United States. His law partner negotiated the GI Bill, or he wrote the GI Bill. He negotiated the Philippine Treaty. He wrote the Philippine Treaty Constitution. But I'm telling you, I'm going to keep exercising my First Amendment rights to get Freezing Roll into the mall. And I want to make sure that Freezing Roll isn't harassed by lawyers for not doing a deal when they want to do a deal. And it's not my fault, Henry McClure, personally, that they didn't want to do the deal they signed. It became a better opportunity to take the Pizza Pub location. You know, they were very disappointed. You know, they had gone to Sky Zone. They were very disappointed in the landscaping deal at in front of the Sky Zone, and they just didn't want to have to go through the plan approval process and to take the Pizza Pub location. And yeah, I'm all for getting the Pizza Pub location, and because that gets me off the hook at least of some of the rent. And if they're not going to put leasing signs in front of my store, and they're not going to take the Freezing Rolls lease, well, then wait a minute, we don't owe you any more money. We shouldn't owe you any more money. You know, hey, here's the real question. Here's the real question. In TIF redevelopment, could you say the management is the blight? because due to where retail's in the tank, we need to look at our whole Wanamaker corridor and how do we make sure that the sales tax keeps coming into our community. And could the management be considered blight? That will be a really cool question of the day. Could the company? Because here's the secret to this whole thing: is Washington Prime Group doesn't own them all. They work for me. I'm a stockholder. I don't have enough stock in the company. You can't squelch a stockholder. How do you tell a stockholder to shut up? Hey, you won't be allowed to talk because your shares are insignificant to us. As a stockholder in the company, we don't really care about you. And that kind of really brings up an interesting thing too. Is management just serving themselves? Are they serving the stockholders? And that will be a question that will get answered here pretty quick. So could management be blighted? I learned real estate as you did from Mace Siegel and Dana Anderson, the founders of the Macerich Company. And I'm sorry, I don't know any better to not keep asking. But you hope there would come a point of clarity that they'd say, you know what, maybe we ought to just go ahead and do this freezing roll deal. We need to do the freezing roll deal. I want to see freezing. I mean, what a beautiful concept. Fresh ice cream made right in front of you with no preservatives, fresh ingredients, the best ice cream I've ever had. And Tommy, you know as well as I do from living out in LA, how the Hispanics love their ice cream, right? Remember La Curacao? Remember the La Curacao deal we did in Panorama? Man, I would have loved to have freezing rolls right outside their door. That La Curacao was a cool deal. Anyway, power to the people, power to the little guy. Thank God for the First Amendment to the Constitution of these United States. But let's get their lawyers. Let's get a bus. Let's get them all to the ice cream store. Let's buy them some ice cream. Freezing rolls. Henry McClure live on a Sunday, praying for divine intervention. We got to put principles of leasing above the personalities of the personnel. Henry McClure live. I love you guys. I would hate to think nobody's just not doing this deal because of Henry McClure, but that would be paranoid. Live.